Oh no, we're live. Hello. Welcome to Wine on an Empty Stomach. The stream is not complete without wine, so Tanya's grabbing some. Cheers to you. Oh, you can't see my glass. And our spooky season read. So excited to do Gilded Ones. Hold on one second. Let me go to YouTube and turn down that volume. Mm-mm-mm. There we go. It's so funny. I can hear Tanya pouring wine. It sounds delicious. There we go. All right. Cool.
Hey everyone. I guess I could have turned my camera off for that.
That's all good.
How's it going?
Chat. I'm looking for a chat. Show chat. There it is. But for some reason won't let me hide. Anyway, whatever. Hi.
Hi.
We're back.
Wine on an empty stomach. We are back with the Gilded Ones. Ah, yes. I too shall show my wine.
Spooky season read.
Yes, so we chose this book actually. This was supposed to be our July read, but things happened and we couldn't do it in July. So it's become our spooky read. And although it's not technically a horror story, there is some body horror and there are monsters.
There are monsters.
So good enough, right?
Yep. Monsters and patriarchy, and I feel like that's always spooky.
Yeah. Definitely. Where should we start?
Sound of Music was in my head. The very beginning, a very good place to start. I'm looking for my chat, but I feel there it is. Boom. Literally had no food, so I'm on tea on no wine today. We also have had literally no food, AK, but that doesn't stop us.
It doesn't stop me. Wine on an empty stomach, indeed.
Cheers, cheers. What are you drinking? What kind of wine are you drinking?
I'm drinking Malbec. Wait, am I drinking Malbec? Yes, I'm drinking Malbec. Or I'm drinking a Cote d'Ivoire. I can't remember which one I opened.
You're getting ahead of us, AK. I'm drinking a Unite, a Lambrusco. It's sparkling red, which is delightful for day drinking. I'll bring you a bottle.
Yeah, Malbec's
they
not so
finally
much for
have
day
it.
drinking. But Malbec, I can't say is so much for day drinking, but here we are.
Once it's carbonated, anything counts. Anywho, we should start at the beginning.
It's brunch.
It is brunch.
All right. You have the list, right?
I have the. Sorry, you cut off. I didn't hear what you said.
Duck for it. Let me see if it's me.
I think it might be you. Maybe. Yeah, I was gonna say connect to that 5G, lady.
We good now?
I think so. I'm waiting for you to catch up. Okay, say something and move.
Are we good now?
Yes.
This is the longest opening we have ever had.
4 minutes. Boom. You know where to find us. We'll talk about that later. But let's start with Deka.
Deka. So we have the purity ceremony.
Ritual of purity.
Which when you started, the ritual of purity, which starting, obviously that Deka's not going to pass it because that's what the whole book is about.
The whole book is about it. She's super nervous. Like I think like now that I've read it a few times, it's just like obvious and very nerve-wracking because you're like, okay, well, I know that you're going to pass, and your apprehensions about you not passing are making me more stressed out.
Yeah. And also, because we know she's not going to pass it, I think that even though, let me start over. Even knowing that she wasn't going to pass it, I
Mhm.
still kept getting hopeful for her
Like,
because of
it's
how
so
nervous she
poor.
was.
I
Yeah.
know, the poor thing. It's like the Jacob that we see at the beginning of the book is nowhere near the one that we see at the end, right? It's like she's such a frail and nervous and, like, insecure, I don't wanna call her a little creature, but she's an insecure little creature,
Oh,
and you just feel so bad for her because she wants nothing more than to fit in and be accepted by her village, and we know that's not
right.
happening.
Right, and her father's family had a past,
Mhm.
impure woman, girl, and her mother is her mother's from the South, so she's already fighting an uphill battle
Yeah,
to be accepted.
an outcast no matter how she slices it.
Right. How did
Man.
you feel about, the beginning, like, how it flowed and all that?
I mean, I thought I was interested right away because I knew that this was something AK campaigning for a ban on Mean Girls in these stories. Um, I mean, I thought that she did a really good job of setting it up, right? Like, you know that this is the person that you're interested in. This is protagonist. You know that because of the name of the book, you know that she's not going to pass this purity ritual. But I think she does a really good job establishing Deka as a character. Like, you get to see the village that she lives in. You get to see the restrictions that are placed on women in the society. Like, they can't travel without an escort. And because they're walking around just to the bakery to get bread for the morning, to get escort, they're mistaken by visiting Jatu soldiers for prostitutes. Um,
Right.
because and they're that when if they pass this purity ritual, they get accepted. She can get married. She can wear the half mask, and just become fully integrated into society. So I think that you see really early, like you said, she's fighting an uphill battle, but just also that this is a society and a culture that restricts heavily the movements and freedoms of women.
It also, to me, came across like it seemed like this little wholesome little town, right?
Hmm.
Where aside from, this restrictions on women, but like the girls are so excited about showing how pure they are. Later on, Deka says how she just assumed anyone who isn't married is a virgin. And it seems like this pure, sweet town where it's
Hmm.
like little farmland and not like crazy city folk. And then they turn on Deka and become
Oh my
immediately
goodness.
monstrous once
Awful.
once they see her eyes change and once that gold comes. It's
Yeah.
like this complete switch.
It's like the biggest worry in the very beginning is just whether or not her blood is gonna run pure, and then suddenly you're introduced to this other element of death streaks. What are they? They come for these girls. They come to take these girls who, before this ritual, and you just see how terrifying they are. Like, nobody's worried about that in the very beginning, and then all of a sudden it happens.
Also, I don't recall if Deka ever says anything about the death mandate until she's found impure.
Mhm.
So we don't, at this time, we just figure an impure girl can't get married
Yes.
and will be shunned. We don't know that she's going to be tortured and dismembered.
Yeah, we don't know that, we don't know
So,
anything about the death mandate. We don't know that this
right,
exists because we like you said, you don't assume that anything is gonna happen. Like, oh, well, you just can't get married, you just can't wear a mask, and your family is shamed.
right. And it seems like this just really horrifying sudden switch because everything happens so fast.
Oh
And then you
man.
get these priests dismembering her to take her bloody gold, and when this is when we get into the body horror, right? They
Mhm.
mention, like, the tendons in her neck stretching to her body and the different ways they dismembered her and drained her blood, and they killed her over and over and over trying
Over
to find
again.
her final death, but
They
also to harvest her blood.
Right. We find out later that that Dick, after she does not pass the purity test, after they're attacked by death streaks, that she dies 9 times. They behead her, they burn her, they drown her, they hang her, they poison her, they stone her, they disembowel her, they do bloodletting, and then they dismember her, which is kind of giving Freddy Krueger dust a little bit, but that's another topic. But you,
Well,
but you,
which we'll discuss with AK at some point, I think.
yeah. She goes through all these horrible things, and you find out that, like, not only is she, they're trying to find what we learn later will to be like her final death, but they're profiting off of the fact that her blood is golden, and they're selling it and making money. So they're not really they're not distressed that she's not dying. They're surprised because she's unnatural, but she keeps
Mhm.
coming back to life. She keeps resurrecting. Her body keeps reattaching. She keeps healing from all of these horrific murders that they're committing. But you find out that like it's filling up their coffers. You know,
Right.
cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Every time she dies, it comes back. They're like, all right, well, you didn't die this time, but let's see what else we can do and collect those bloody buckets and, make money. It's
And so
awful.
these allegedly pious people who are supposed to be getting rid of a demon, they're actually filling their pockets.
Hmm.
And then, of course, we learn later that the Jatu put the death mandate in the infinite wisdom.
Let's talk about the infinite wisdoms.
Mm,
The fact that it's even called the infinite wisdoms. Like, there's like steaming hot propaganda on a plate.
yeah. And, finding out that the Jatu changed it is hits a little close to home, right?
Mm.
The changes in your holy book. Um, AK said, "How is Freddy Krueger a better dude than these assholes?" Jesus.
Changes to your holy book. It reminds me of uh Jesus, our cursed read.
Oh,
Who fears death?
Who Fears Death? Oh, yes, that was such a cursed read.
Yeah. Yeah. So poor Deka has been suffering at the hands of her priests and her holy people. The guy that she kind of had a crush on, who said that she was pretty and made her experience a little bit of a feminine awakening, chops her head off, and then her father stabs her, and then she dies all these times, and finally she's just coming in and out of like consciousness, recovering from all these gruesome deaths, and she wakes up to find some strange woman in her cell who turns out to
before
be her liberator.
before we talk about her, can we talk about her dad for a minute?
I mean,
So,
first he's sour and then he's sweet, except reversed.
right, because my question, I guess, is do you think that he truly believed a demon had overtaken her, or do you think that he was ashamed by her impurity?
I, which dad who actually is reminding me of as you ask that question? The father in Broken Earth trilogy, whose name just fell out of my head.
Right,
Right? It's like,
right.
do I believe that he thinks that she was really impure? Like as we find out all this stuff later and know that he's the one that helped her mother escape, I think that maybe the little pieces have all connected in his head, and he probably feels like he's been duped. Um, so I think it's not that he's just trying to save face, and that not that he's dealing with the shame. I think that he probably buys into the propaganda. I mean, because he was a Jatu soldier before,
Mhm.
I think that he believes that she is actually cursed.
And he does keep saying for this demon to stop speaking in his daughter's voice or something like
Hmm.
that. So it's
Yeah,
possible he believed it. It's
I think he's
possible.
so steeped in the religion and the culture that I think that he actually does. Because I don't see that there would be a reason for him to believe not to. And the other thing is like it's not the first time that this has happened in his bloodline. Saying he needs to save himself and his image. Possibly, yeah.
Because he was already tarnished by that other family member from whenever. Remember, she mentions
Mhm.
how her aunts cover their entire faces and they're extremely pious just to make up for the
Yeah.
fact that they had someone who was impure in the family line.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Young old Tom.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm just showing more comments. His
yeah.
family has been under fire for a while. He's very paranoid about it. This is true. And also, he picked up this pregnant woman from the South and spirited her away. We don't really get much into that. I wonder if we'll learn more in The Merciless Ones.
I hope so.
I haven't read it yet. The sequel
I
to
haven't
this
read
is
it
The
either.
Merciless Ones. Um, I have it here. Maybe I'll read it now that I've. recently reread the Gilded ones. Might be a good time to start it.
Yeah.
But yes, let's talk about White Hands now. What did you think about her when she first arrived?
When she first arrived, I wasn't really sure. I was like, okay, the poor girl has been through a lot. I was like, I don't know what your purpose is, but if it's to get her out of here, then I guess I agree with you. Like, are you the Shafa of this book? I guess was really my
Mm,
first reaction, right? And we know how Shafas are.
yeah, yeah, that's actually a really good comparison. I hadn't thought about it. She is kind of Shafa
Yeah, and so
in a
she's
different way.
in a different way, right? She's trying to get her attention, and she's the one who first tells Deko what she is, or gives familiarizes her or introduces her rather to the term
Right.
alaki.
Hmm.
And yeah, but you know what's interesting? I like because after the couple of rereads of it, it's really interesting her meeting Deka, and just like all she does, she slaps her in the face, and she's like, "Stay awake, stay awake." Like, don't go back to sleep on me. I'm trying to talk to you. And it's like at this point she knows that Deka has been suffering, but she has zero sympathy on her for her, because we find out later that she experienced much worse torture.
which
She
you can't even think could be possible after
Which wouldn't
someone's
be possible, right?
killed in horrible ways 9 times.
Exactly. It's like, here's a woman who was dismembered and had her body parts separated from each other so they couldn't reconnect for hundreds of years. So, like, what Deka's experience is just like a little sneeze. Um,
Right, and White Hands also didn't have the gilded sleep,
yeah,
so she had to stay awake for
she
all of
had to
it.
stay awake while ooh, yeah. But I was excited about her because I was like, well, I don't know who this woman is, but I want to trust her.
In my mind, she seemed glamorous.
Mm,
Jacob does talk about how beautiful she is, but
yeah.
even though they didn't describe her as glamorous, I just felt she was glamorous.
The purse matches the bag. The
Yeah,
purse and the shoes match.
right.
Yeah,
And then
yeah, yeah.
her white gauntlets, like I want
Mhm.
some white gauntlets that cover my fingers
Yeah. Whew,
that are
yeah.
sharpened, which comes into use later.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
What did you think of Britta's story?
Britta was so funny to me. She was so sweet. I was like, look at this little girl from the country. She's had a different life. She's not it's just, you see, like, culturally well she's an uber extrovert. First of all, she can't tolerate the
Yes.
sound of silence
Yes.
and
Yes.
always needs to fill it, and she's just looking, she's just so optimistic, and she can't help it. Britta's just endearing immediately. You're just like, oh, be my friend. Maybe shut up a little bit, but be my friend.
Right.
And I think that she was a perfect match for Deka, like somebody who's so outgoing and somebody who's not, distrustful. I mean, let's keep it real. Like, this book is really, like, it's on many levels. It's a lot of things, but it's like the story of PTSD. The poor girl is just like, everywhere she turns, she just cannot. She knows that she can't trust anyone. She doesn't know, she's suspicious, but rightfully so, because the people who were closest to her, the people who she grew up with and should have been the most trusted people, were the ones who inflicted this awful past on her.
Yeah, I liked Britta a lot. I liked her character a lot. I thought she was really sweet. And
Hmm.
I liked how she immediately wanted to take care of Deka, like when she slept for a month.
Yeah.
Which did we get an explanation for why she slept for a month?
Um, well, no, White Hands does say that sometimes when it's the body's way of dealing with pain and trauma
Mm.
is to just sleep as part of healing. So no, not really, but I've
From
wanted to sleep for
AK,
months before.
yeah, recently. For AK, poor sheltered introverted girl gets tossed into the wild. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she's known no life outside of Airfoot.
Mm-mm.
And at times I did find her annoying, but I think it's from more from the audiobook. Listening to the audiobook, I found her Deka to be kind of whiny in a way that I
Mhm.
didn't imagine when I was reading it.
Yeah, same,
And
same.
then with little things like when Britta tells her, like when we find out that Deka can sense death shrieks, Oh, I should have used that glass. When we
Oh, that's
find
not what you were gonna do.
Yeah,
I was
I
very
completely
surprised when you did
forgot.
it.
I know, I completely forgot. Um, Missed opportunity. When I'm, like, tempted to go switch. When, Deka when we find out that when Britta finds out that Deka can sense the death shrieks and Deka doesn't put that together as to why that would be useful, I was
Yeah.
so annoyed with her.
Yeah. Like, how could you not like, I mean, but like you said, she's had so many reasons to mistrust people, you know. And every time that she like basically her abilities are what got her into the situation in the first place. So why would she see an advantage to it?
Yeah. I
I
was
mean,
just like,
sometimes it takes someone
"Girl."
outside of you. I'm like, oh yeah, you can sense them. You should tell people. Well, what's gonna happen if I tell people this thing? I'm already unnatural. I'm already unlucky. I'm already this, cursed.
I do think at that point she was probably still hoping she'd somehow be normal.
That's, I felt like I mean, I guess that really shows how deeply ingrained these cultural things were in her. But I was a little bit of annoyed that she wasn't becoming more quickly disillusioned with the teachings of the
Right,
infinite wisdoms, and
right.
that she was still clinging to Oyomo, um, and hoping
Despite
for refuge.
I would have thought that the moment the priest dismembered her and also her realizing what happened to the temple girls,
Hmm.
learning that the temple girls were being sexually abused, that that should have disillusioned her. We have a question from AK. Okay, how early on did y'all guess the thing? Because I was side eyeing when that first happened. Which thing?
I was gonna say which.
Because there were a few things.
Yeah. Oh wait, hold on. Spoilers. Haha. All right, we've done our
Yeah,
duty.
I would hope that,
At this
there's
point.
yeah, there's gonna be spoilers in us talking about a book reread. It's kind of impossible. AK, what thing are you talking about
Hmm.
while we wait for her to
Sensing
answer?
this. It says she says sensing the death shrieks.
Oh, I mean, that was from the very beginning.
Yeah, that was when they
Um,
were lined up for the purity ritual.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
she mentions like this feeling, and
Hmm.
then the mist comes, and then suddenly she's like death shrieks, and so from then I knew, okay, so she can
Yeah.
sense them. I just didn't guess why. I don't know if anybody could have guessed why.
Do you know what I just realized is like, do they ever? I'm trying to. Maybe I missed that. In the beginning, she says she talks about there are things that the people in the village don't know about her and things about her mom, but I don't feel like we ever find out what that is. Do you remember them revealing that?
About her and her mom.
Yes, because she said there are things about her and her mother that
Oh,
were,
right, right, right.
but I
Like
don't remember that we
ability.
actually, yeah, because like up until that point, she has no idea that she can sense death shrieks, and she doesn't make that connection until later on. So I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah, I don't know what abilities she was talking about. Maybe again, maybe in Merciless Ones we'll learn more about her mother.
Hmm. Yeah, I hope so.
I hope so too.
Oh, he said her mom hid her blood color. I think that was the big thing, but
Yes,
she
she
didn't
did
know
have
that
her
her
blood
blood.
color.
But she didn't know that. Deka didn't know that. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, because she's a stealth and they can do things with
Shadow.
the keys.
Yeah.
Yes, shadow. Sorry. Wait, what was the stealth? Oh, I'm sorry. It's another book I'm reading.
Oh,
I'm
worlds
reading the
collide.
I know, I'm reading the sequel to Witches Steeped in Gold. I can't recall what the title is, but,
Mm.
theirs are called stealths, basically.
Got
Sorry,
it.
sorry, I'm reading 2 books at the same time, I get things crossed.
Mhm.
Let's fast forward a bit to
Being at the Watibera,
yes, to being at the Watibera, that place. I
the elite training ground of the warriors of the Emperor.
maybe I'm naive. I thought that the city people of the Watibera would, if not being more accepting of the Alaki, that they would have more of an understanding.
Mhm.
And Maybe that was
Dora
naive of
Milaje
me.
training, yes.
Oh, yeah, they are like Dora Milaje. Let me show that comment.
So you expected them to be just, more open to their presence or just respectful of
Yeah,
their purpose?
right, right. Both of those. Both
It's
of
like,
those.
that also geez, a lot of I didn't even think about it making the connection to, like, Stone Sky and some of these other books, but it reminds me of Hoa and them when they were first walking out on that field trip to go experience stuff outside of, like, the lab that they grew up in.
Right, and the people hate them
Mhm.
and call them unnatural. But also the way the people close to this the I was about to say the Santorum Sanctum. That's not what it's called. 'Cause I am Uh, I'm confusing all of my fantasy stuff. What is that place
Happens.
called?
Which place?
Where the in Broken Earth where they train?
I don't know, Sinologist? Sinologist?
No, oh
Sinologist?
no, that's where him Ho was from. I meant where the Ragas train.
Oh, the fulcrum. There,
The
thanks.
Fulcrum. Oh, thank
Thank
you.
you, AK. Yes, the fulcrum.
Yes, I was gonna say also places closer to the fulcrum that know exactly what
Mm,
origins do. You would expect them to be
right.
somewhat more understanding, more ex understanding and respectful of
Yeah.
how they keep them alive,
The people keeping
really.
their yeah, exactly. The people who are protecting and defending their village, their city. Like, it's crazy. Yeah,
So
and
yeah, these are
great.
a lot of parallels that I didn't think about. Thank you
Me
for
neither. Me neither till,
bringing
like,
this up. Yeah,
just
until
now.
we started talking about it, right? So just so you
Oh,
know, we avoid talking about the book to each other just so that we can actually talk about it now and not, you know.
yeah, have fresh perspectives.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Keep it a discussion. We don't really want
Mhm.
to script things, which also could make us take tangents, but whatever. It's live, so here we
Yeah.
are.
Oh, man.
So the Watibera, we have the Alaki training to work with the Jatu recruits, not the actual Jatu. So the Jatu become, I mean, the recruits become their Oroni, which is basically their blood partner, right?
Mhm.
So what happens when they're not recruits anymore? That's what I was confused. Oh well, also I guess the Alaki fighting in the army is new.
Yeah.
It's new. So I suppose they're some of the first ones. Um
Yeah, that's the impression that I had. So what happens with them, later? Who knows? They're just fighting pairs like Parshendi.
you're like Parshendi.
Ding.
There we go.
Brandon Sanderson.
We have fit in
A Stormlight Archive
Stormlight
reference.
Archive reference.
It's our favorite thing to do. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
One day we'll figure out how to talk about it without just doing a reread. One
Man,
one day.
one day. That
Um,
would have to be scripted, I think. There's just too much.
there's way too much. We'd be talking for 6 hours on like one chapter. Um, anyway, back to the book at hand.
Shout out to their
Yeah,
Kickstarter.
yeah, I can't wait for January.
Mm.
Um, I wondered what happens once the recruits are no longer recruits because this is, the first round. And obviously with the way the book ends, are we even gonna have lucky soldiers ever again? Probably not, right? Um, let's see what AK had to say.
She was literally
Oh.
waiting to see how long it would take for a Stormlight Archive mention.
How long did it take? 29 minutes.
29
That's
minutes.
that's a while for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess they're just a special branch of the army, the one that's paired. You see that they don't get along later. Later, you see that they don't get along with the regular soldiers,
Right, but the
and they have to
regular
be put in
soldiers
their place. But
yeah, the regular soldiers, though, in my mind, are like the small folk in Westeros, like the
mhm,
spearmen. That's what I
yeah,
meant to say. The spearmen. They're not the knights and the
yeah, infantry front
the
line for
yeah,
immediate death.
exactly. Cannon fodder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Uh,
It's on my wine bingo card now. Yes, you should have a wine bingo card for our Stormlight references because at this point it's just absurd
inevitable.
how much we think about those books.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, let's fast forward a little more into
They've been what? They've been trained. They know
they've
oh, I
gone on
just it's
raids.
they've gone on raids, they've been trained, but, like, I wanna talk about just, like, the infinite wisdoms again and just how
Oh,
restrictive they
right.
are, right? Like,
Right, right, right.
like, there's she Deka is constantly reciting, like, passages from it, and I didn't write any of them down, but it's just, like, knowing that they can't, cut themselves and that they can't run and they can't do anything that basically prevents them from harming their bodies or exposing potentially exposing their blood. But it's just like all these things, like they're all surprised. The women who are in the Wati Bara and have been selected this are also surprised when they're seeing women teachers, because women aren't allowed to work outside of the home. And it's just like one thing.
Unless it's related to like the family
Unless
business.
it's right, exactly, unless it's furthering the ends of their husbands. And so you have these moments of just like beautiful freedom, like where they find out that running is exhilarating. I mean, I haven't run in years,
I
but
don't find
once
running
upon a time,
exhilarating at all, I'm
you
gonna be
get to that
honest.
point and you're just like, oh no, this actually does feel good. But the problem with that is it takes like a mile to get there. And no, 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 thanks.
Yeah, I'm not a runner at
But
all.
but they find out about
Um,
the combat state, which is like a heightened sense of awareness, from their physical
and
activity where things come into focus.
that actually made me think of runner's high that people who
Mhm,
run long distance
exactly.
talk about. Yeah, I've never experienced that. I
Yeah.
experience runner's remorse.
I've definitely experienced runner's highs, but it was forced because my parents made me run cross country in high school. It was
Oh
very
god.
short-lived, but,
I was a
when it
sprinter
happened, it
for
was
a little
cool.
while, but I'm Jamaican. That's what's expected of us.
Right.
And yes, I
Mm,
also played soccer
mm,
because again, it's what's expected. You play soccer or you sprint and you see what
right.
sticks, and neither stuck for me.
Yeah,
Um,
nobody.
yeah, and one of the things with that too was that they were slowing themselves down so that
Mhm,
their recruits could keep up with them because they didn't want to
mhm.
shame them.
Exactly. And Deka was like, "What are we doing? We've all like we're dying and we're being tortured. And our sisters are being tortured when they come back from raids and they haven't filled their quota. They're being
Right, they're
flayed.
being
They're
flayed.
being flayed as punishment. So like, why are we holding back?" And that's when she gives that speech, right? She
Yes.
bleeds herself and
Her
she's
big
like,
hero speech.
"Yes.
Are we girls or are we demons? Wipe the blood across your chest. Oh,
Yes.
that's when I was like, okay, Deka. All right. I'm starting
Mhm.
to feel you now.
Yeah.
You're waking up. You're
You're
waking
waking
up.
up. Thank God."
Get those shackles off your feet so you can dance.
Exactly. And it's just it's just such a moment of empowerment. And you see that Keita at this point really starts to look at her differently too.
Mhm.
Um,
What did you think of Kata at first?
I actually didn't have the same intense dislike for him that she did. I was more annoyed that there was gonna be a love story somewhere in this book. Um, whatever, coming of age, I guess it has its place.
Right,
Um,
right.
but I was like, oh, well, here's a kid who obviously is, he's taking it seriously. We find out that he's been there for a while. It's
Since he
not
was
that
a
he's new.
child.
He's been there since
Yeah,
he was
why
a
is he
child.
still a recruit?
Maybe he was too
Oh,
young.
I
Maybe
guess
he
you have
wasn't
to
at the
be
right
yeah, I
age.
was about
Yeah.
to say, yeah, he probably had to become old enough.
And I was just like, oh no. So I don't know. I didn't hate him. I thought that she was judging him a little harshly. But on the other hand, like the last guy that she was attracted to and had a crush on, you know, stuck a sword
Stabbed
in
her in
his
the
back.
stomach. In her stomach, he looked her dead in
Oof,
the eyes and stabbed her in the gut. Alicia said, and
boom.
there goes the ticked off bingo card. I don't even know what we referenced
I
this
want
time.
this bingo card,
Was it the
aka.
Mary Mary reference? I didn't know that was
I want this wine bingo card too, because I
I
feel like I'm
know.
missing out. We should have that
We should make
specifically for
one.
this.
We
Yeah.
should make one.
Yeah. What color is your wine, Tanya? Ah, yes. It's not the bright orange of sober.
No, it is not. It's the dark red, which I don't even know. Oh, Love Story edition.
Oh, yes. But
Yeah,
they're
it actually,
teenagers and we
yeah, I was
get
gonna
it. It's
say
like young,
it's
it's
in this.
YA.
Yeah, I was gonna say it works in this. Like she's young, she has a crush. It makes sense, but
Also
I always
reminds
get
me of Pooh
wary.
Bear's death.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
because she too falls in love. I get it though for like YA coming of age stuff
Yeah,
because it makes sense. You get crushes and
you
stuff
get
as
crushes. You
long
like,
as it's like doesn't like take over the story and get too in detail on the love part when the story itself is not about that. It's like, all right,
yeah.
I'm cool.
Yeah, I thought, I mean, even though I was initially annoyed because I could see that coming, I think that it plays out really nicely throughout. It's not like leading into it too heavily. It's still very sweet and still very innocent.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and it's not like, oh my God, her, his touch made my blood boil. It's not like all of that. It's just like, oh, I'm starting to recognize that there's something we vibing. We're vibing. But it's survival. And I think that his concern from her for her is like really, really touching. Um, yeah, I'll allow it.
AK said I keep wanting to call you AKA and like it's just ridiculous. I'm assuming you're not an AKA. I never asked. Actually, I thought you were a Delta when I saw the DS thing, but then I was like, no, that's not it. And it confused me for a second. Anyway, especially the convo I posted on Twitter last night. I wasn't on Twitter last night, so I don't know what that conversation was. But apparently it was funny, so now I gotta go back and look. Um
This is a random aside. AK, have you seen Hilarious? Hell Arius? Let me know. That's on Amazon. I went down a horror wormhole last night and ended up there. And whoa.
was it good?
Oh, some of it was like some of it was so stupid, and some of it was actually like I laughed out loud because of how ridiculous the things that were happening in the movie. It's like I think it's 5 or 6 different stories, of like short films that were put together to create this thing. And yeah, it's definitely worth a watch if you want something weird for a spooky season.
I'll probably watch that tonight before House of the Dragon.
I
So look,
also stumbled upon the first nudie musical ever. That's the name of it. You're on your own from
the
there.
first
Also,
nudie musical ever.
mhm,
Okay, that might be a daytime watching it when
when the kids are not
Sulu's at
home.
school.
Yeah, because there's full frontal.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, oh yeah.
I don't think Sulu understands that yet. Although he does like to walk in on me and point out my nibbles.
Oh, male full frontal.
Oh.
Hmm.
Well, he
Anyway,
has one of those. Anyway, so moving
we digress.
moving on. God, this is a weird. Well, I guess we're drinking wine on an empty stomach. It makes
Well,
things
there it
weird,
is.
right?
Oh, it's just not that I was in a mood. It was like I was in a wormhole or a rabbit hole rather of Amazon Prime spooky season watches because I've been binging Vincent Price and somehow that led there. But anyway, we digress.
I'll check that out. Ooh, Funyuns. Um, sorry, I just saw the bag across the room.
Yeah,
Gosh,
so
there's a
there,
lot of
she's a
digression.
warrior.
Sorry
We
here.
find out all these things. We know that she can sense death streaks, and not Data. Britta says that maybe she should work on this. Keita finds out that she can do, and he's like, "Hey, this could save a lot of lives. Aren't you tired of people you love being killed by these creatures?"
Oh, okay. I know what I do. I did see this AK. AK. I did see this AK. But here's the line. How are we disappointing? You never even felt up a girl before. I have many times. It's delightful. That was one of the sisters. What was her name?
Right, as Adwama,
Yeah,
the Asha and Adwama,
yeah.
sorry, Adwapa,
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 yes.
Adwapa.
That I believe that line was from Adwapa, who we learn is into girls. And it's
Yeah.
funny, like she straight up has a girlfriend at the I was about to say
Hmm.
at the fulcrum, at the Watibera. Yeah, she straight up has a girlfriend at the Watibera. And that was funny because the boys were talking about whether or not they've ever kissed a girl and
Yeah.
who's a virgin. And then you find out they're like all virgins, even though they were
Mm.
making fun of the one who admitted he was a virgin.
Yeah. Very cute. I feel like
I
the
did
only
enj
place I've experienced that was when I went to Ethiopia, and they were like, "Oh, they're not." Well, I won't speak for the entire country, but the
right.
impression that we were given was that unmarried people, because it is a fairly religious place, are often still virgins.
Um, I did enjoy seeing how the Uruni and the Alaki. Oh wait, no, they're called Uruni. The recruits and the Alaki in these
Hmm.
Uruni whatever relationships. I did enjoy seeing how loyal they became to their Alaki,
Yes.
and that
Hmm.
the ritual, the small ritual they go through to make them the Uruni was similar to a marriage ceremony.
Right.
I found that really interesting, and look how it backfired. Let's talk about a lot of the end because we have about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Um, let's get to the
Fast
end.
forward, Deka gets a
Yeah.
magical creature that's supposed to save her life, and it's gifted by the gods. And if we find out that, um, yeah. Fast forward, we find out that Deka's mother was a shadow,
Mhm.
that she got pregnant with her, and that's why she had to leave. That her
And not
father
just
was a
got
soldier who
pregnant
was
with
past
her.
her. She was implanted
She was
with
implanted.
divinity.
She was implanted by, I was about to say cold hands. Wow. Implanted
White
by
hands.
white hands who held her in her own stomach until it became time to implant her into her
Hmm.
mother, what would become her mother's
A
stomach.
vessel.
She was called the Nuru.
Hmm.
And so throughout the story, we get her talking about how the death shrieks keep calling her,
Nuru.
they call her Nuru, but they keep calling her betrayer.
Yes.
And we don't understand how she's betraying them. And at one point I suspected that she was like half death shriek, which is also
Yeah.
what she thought, is that she was
Right.
half death shriek. But we learn that she's essentially like their Jesus. She's the savior sent
Hmm.
to, free them.
And we
Born
learned their
to a
identity of
virgin.
them, right? Because basically it's the emperor is in a war of genocide. We find out that Alaki, when they die, they become death streaks. And in order to wipe them all out, basically what the emperor wants to do is have them find their final death, turn them into death streaks so they can kill them once and for all, thereby cleansing the land of, these essentially divinities.
And you know what was a big hint that I didn't pick up the first time? When the death shrieks are stabbed, they bleed blue blood. And we know that
Oh, I didn't even make that connection.
yes, they bleed blue blood, and the final death blood of an Alaki is
Mm,
blue.
blue, right,
I didn't pick
right.
that up on my first read. It was the second time
Yes.
around that I saw that and was like, "Oh my god, they told us right here."
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're so right.
But it really takes rereading to pick it up.
Right. Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Wow. Hmm. What's funny too that I picked up on the reread that I didn't initially is that Deka is like, she's right so many times, right? Her instincts are always right, and she has a sense of like the purpose of these things that she's experiencing, but she doesn't end up making the connections until later. you know it's like she's like, oh, I don't know what's going on with them bringing all of us alaki in the same place, but it seems like it's a plan to corral all of our kind in one place, and then kill us. And
Mm.
you're like, actually, that's exactly what this is about from the emperor's perspective. But White Hands is here secretly building her army, because we find out that she's like the original mother. Her name
Right.
is Fatu. She's a goddess.
And so the emperor is bringing them all together, like you said, to kill them, but also creating this elite group so
Hmm.
that he can wipe them, find the Nuru and make sure she's wiped out
Right.
because he knows about the Nuru. And then, like you said, White Hands was putting together the strongest to build her own army. We also find out the emperor is a Jatu, and that the Jatu are not
Jatu.
just soldiers. The original Jatu were also children of the gods. Let's talk about the gods.
Hmm.
The gilded ones, who we this whole time we're being told are demons who
Demons,
intermingled
cursed
with
monsters, and
cursed
yeah.
monsters who had babies with humans, are actually gods. And that it was basically like some patriarchy shit to just get rid of them.
Hmm. The men wanted to be in charge, so they imprisoned them. And
Because they couldn't kill them.
yeah, so they imprisoned them because they couldn't kill them. And, from then on descended the infinite wisdoms and this patriarchal society because they were jealous of how powerful they were.
I want to show a comment, another comment.
Hmm.
This is where I call into question White Hands and her antics. Why not tell this girl what she is? She's clearly noticing that even for a demon, something is extra with her. I think that White Hands didn't tell her because White Hands recognized early on that Deka can absolutely not handle it because she's not even handling being so called impure well.
Exactly. Every time and you see like the repetition of her calling her a lucky and calling her unnatural is to kind of like for her to like grow a thick skin and to
Yeah.
learn how to deal with this because she's so fragile and she's so I won't say that she's weak, but she's absolutely just incapable of like harsh criticism because of the sheltered life that she led, right? Like I don't think any of the other women from her village would have been able to stand being insulted in that, or quote unquote insulted in that type of way either.
Right.
Because of her upbringing, she had to steel herself and go through all the things that were going to build her confidence to be able to accept that. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think that she simply couldn't tell her. She probably would have had a complete breakdown. Like finding out you're supposed to be the savior of your
Hmm.
kind. Finding out your kind, period, nearly broke her. She slept for a month. And then finding out not only are you this so-called demon, you know, to find out you're also like their savior is another just,
Hmm.
and that you're descended from gods.
Yeah,
It's a lot of
yeah.
information to
It's a
take
lot,
in.
and then and then the guilt of knowing that like you've been using this thing that only you can do to to basically facilitate the massacre of your kind.
And this is a girl who hasn't even had her first period yet. It's a lot to, it's a lot to expect from her.
Whew.
Let's see this comment. How is the emperor making more like him though? Wouldn't the traits dilute over such a long time with no new magic blood to infuse in the mix? I suppose the seed could have been that strong though. My guess is inbreeding.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that if like if you are from the original line of Jatu and it seems that they can trace their family history that far back, that you're probably keeping those people very close to you. You know,
Yeah.
Valerian
I would just assume
and
inbreeding, like the
Targaryens.
Targaryens.
Hmm. There it is. But
Don't forget
also,
to don't
but
forget to
that's
look out for our House of the Dragon episode coming soon after we watch tonight.
yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, and shout out to AK on the seed could have been that strong though,
Yeah.
because there it is. There it is.
There's another
We're
oh, that's the
crossing
same one.
fantasies all day.
All day, all day, every day.
uh, boom. I want
And
this
there's the
bingo
Thrones
card.
reference. Yeah, we gotta make a bingo card.
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah, just I like this book a lot. I really do.
I
And
do
I'm
too.
excited that it's going to be a movie.
Do we know anything about it yet?
No, it just says all I have is it says a week after the release of the novel, Deadline Hollywood announced that it had been optioned for a film adaptation by the independent film production company called Make Ready. It will be produced by Brad Weston, Najeen Salmasi, and Misha Green, the latter of who is known for her work on Lovecraft
Yeah, I
Country.
recognized Misha Green's name.
Yeah, so it's coming. When?
I'm looking forward to it.
Mm, yes, movie coming.
Movie coming. How'd you feel about that final fight scene?
With the Valkyrie. um, yeah, it
Not the
was in,
Valkyrie this time.
yeah, but it was intense and cool. I
I
just
was
like I don't know. I think
I
I
was
have.
really
Go
go
ahead.
ahead, sorry.
I was
I
gonna
was
say go
really
ahead.
I was really surprised to learn that one that the Jatu are also essentially descended from the Gilded ones,
Hmm.
and also that the Emperor had those types of skills. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
I also loved the moment that I was gonna say cold hands again, that White Hands jumps into the battle and immediately slashes the general's throat with her gauntleted
Mm.
fingers. Oh my gosh. And at first, when I first thought, I thought for a brief second, I thought she killed the emperor. And then I was like, oh, no, 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 that's a general. Because I
Hmm.
was like, oh shit, the emperor's gone just like that.
Yeah.
And his battle with Deka when she's like telling what each teacher taught her.
Oh, I
I
love
want
that.
I loved it, and I'm like,
I
"Yeah, I
love.
wanna see that on screen."
Yeah,
It
yeah, yeah,
reminded
yeah.
me of, like, kung fu movies or, like,
Hmm.
anime, like, "You fool, I haven't even reached my final form." Exactly.
Yeah. Oh man, so 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 cool. That part was really. I felt like I don't want to say that I felt like the ending was a little bit rushed, but I feel like it was like all of a sudden we'd been experiencing the story, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh shit, exposition. Here's all the things that you needed to know through Decca's mouth, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
it did happen fast, like, you're just suddenly at the end,
yeah,
um, but I guess I don't know, I guess it just happened fast for Deka as well.
yeah,
You know, I guess
you know,
she gets this information, she gets killed, we find out Katya is a death streak, which is how we learn about the death streak being what
hmm,
happens after the final death. We learn that the death streaks have been doing raids to save Alaki girls before they can be
yes,
subjected to the mandate, and then we also learn there's a whole army of Alaki girls that have been taken away, um, AKA I was about to call you Aisha, I just want you to know that.
oh
AKA
Lord.
I'm all over the place with names today. Maybe the author didn't know she was going to do a part 2 at the time. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe. What's interesting about it is that this book was inspired by a recurring dream that she was having while she was in college.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
she kept dreaming about a girl in gold armor walking across the field.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which makes me go, huh, maybe I should be using my dreams for story ideas because the one I
You
had last
should.
night was crazy.
That's why I text you my dreams. I hope that you turn them into
Yeah.
stories because 'cause I'm not a
I have
writer.
a list of them. I'm just like, "Oh, okay." The one last night was, like, super, super cool, but then it was really interesting that our friend Amma what was saying did you see what her Facebook post today? She's like
Uh-uh.
she said, "The dream realm is bugging right now," and, like, all these people were like, "Yo!" Yeah. So several other people have been experiencing a very rich dream life.
Yeah, I'll tell you about my weird dreams when we're off air
Yeah.
because I had some weird dreams that had about me, like, defending sex
Yes.
workers.
Oh, exactly. Okay, I do wanna hear about that. That's exactly the thing, Deka, AK, is that all these things that she experienced were kind of her
They were
not
her
of her own
doing.
making, but they were her doing, right? Like,
Yeah.
the death streaks were coming to save her, and then she stuck them in their tracks and led to them and sent them away, told them to run away. But this whole time, they were trying to prevent her from going through all these things, and she realizes that, "You know what? Maybe it's a good thing that I experienced all these things because I developed my empathy muscles."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she says that she needed to know what a human girl lives like
Yeah,
and what the Alaki go through in order to truly understand it on the level that she understands it.
right. Man. Yeah, I think I'm ready to read The Merciless Ones. I was putting it off, but I think it's fresh. It's just what you know what? What else are you reading right now, Tanya?
Okay, I have to just tell you the title. Is my Kindle out here? No, but I have
I'm
my
gonna go on my
iPad.
Libby.
I recently reread Bunnicula just because I've been tweeting about Bunnicula forever. I just keep saying,
Hmm.
does anybody else like know this book? Because I feel like nobody talks about Bunnicula. And so I'm wearing my Bunnicula shirt today. So I've just reread Bunnicula. It's very short and it's a really cute story about a vampire bunny. and then and it's the house dog telling the story. So it's a cute little read. Um I'm reading the sequel to Which is Steeped in Gold. I'm
Hmm.
gonna tell you what it's called. Do you want to tell us what you're reading while I look it up?
Sure. I am reading the first ever Brandon Sanderson novel, Elantris, which I'm super excited about. And while I'm reading that, I'm also reading Infinity Blade, another Sanderson novel, which is the sequel. Uh, the sequel is called Redemption. I forgot what the first one was. And then I'm reading this thing by Kason Calendar called Hurricane Child, which is a story of a girl of Caribbean descent, and I haven't listened to it or read it in a couple days, so I forgot. Other than she's
So
trying to find herself.
so the sequel to Which is Steeped in Gold is Empress Crowned in Red. So that's what I'm currently reading.
Mm.
And this is also based on like fantasy Caribbean islands. The author I think is Jamaican English, I think. I'm not sure. She
Oh.
definitely making Descent, but I can't remember. Um, her name is okay. I don't know how to. I feel like it's pronounced Shannon, but
Mm-hmm.
it's Ciannon. Smart.
Okay.
So I think
Yeah.
it's Shannon Smart, but I'm not sure of the pronunciation.
I was gonna say also happy Black Speculative Fiction Month.
Yes, happy Black Speculative Fiction Month. If you are looking for some speculative fiction from Black writers, do go back through Wine on an Empty Stomach. And
Mm-hmm.
I think almost every writer we've done is Black except Neil Gaiman.
He got invited to the
Yeah.
cookout. He gets a
Oh, God.
pass. Speaking of Neil
This,
Gaiman, we're gonna go see him
yes,
in
oh, that infernal
2 weeks.
cookout. Ugh, I hate the cookout.
Neil Gaiman and George R. R. Martin are having a conversation that we'll be attending with some other of our and
Our,
a Song of Ice and Fire, a World of Ice and Fire cohorts.
yes, it's October 27th in New York City. Um, if you're in New York, please go and then tell us. You have to buy tickets, just so you know.
Yeah,
I guess Google it and you'll find it. And if you're there, come meet us because we like meeting people who are
we
also in the
do.
fandom. So that's what I'm reading. I'm reading
Yeah.
Empress Crowned in Red. I just finished Bunnicula and Rhythm of War as a
Ugh,
reread. I love Rhythm
I
of
love
War.
Rhythm of War. Brandon
Um,
Sanderson, the fourth book in the Stormlight Archive series. Um,
yes,
yeah,
the fourth.
the fourth, so amazing.
After I read the Merciless ones, again the sequel to the Gilded ones, I am planning to read Master of Poisons, which I bought
Hmm.
ages ago. That's by Andrea Hairston. I'm going to show you the cover.
Yeah, I think I have that in my Kindle library, something that I bought a while ago and I just haven't read yet.
I have the hard cover. Can you see it? Master
Ooh,
of
yeah.
Poisons. So that's the can't
Looking
get
at
it.
yeah, I'm looking at it. It's in my library.
Okay, sorry. I was trying to
Yeah.
get it to show, but there's so much glare on my screen.
No,
Um, yeah, that's what I'm intending to read next. And who knows, maybe it'll be a book club read.
yeah, I was gonna say we don't know what our next book club read is, but we will let you know as soon as we figure that out.
Yeah, I mean
It's
that will likely be in what, January probably, because I think we probably
yeah,
skip November because the
yeah,
holiday season.
holiday season. Although we are working out details for us to do in-person live trivia for
Yes, we
Game
are
of
working at
Thrones.
details. The tentative date is
It's,
November 15th
yeah, at the
at
Stone Bridge.
the Stone Bridge in Flushing, Queens, New York. Um, Once we lock down details, we'll post it. I just am missing trivia, especially in-person trivia,
Me
so bad.
too. Me
So
too.
if you're in New York again and are willing to come to Flushing, um, listen out for our trivia. So tentative date November 15th at 8:30.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, that's a Tuesday night. And
Yes.
we'll be bringing with us, of course, as always, DJ Ray Ellis, because we don't just do trivia, okay? It's not just questions. We are into it. We
It is an
go,
event.
this is an
It's an
event. We
event.
go all in for trivia.
Huh.
Um, so if you're one of the people who miss trivia, I suppose we could also do some virtual trivia at some point. We haven't done
Best
that in a
DJ in
while.
the realm. This is true.
Best DJ in the realm.
Yeah.
AK said, sure, go ahead, make me homesick. I'm sorry, boo. I'm sorry. We'll meet you one day. We'll meet you one day. And yes, DJ Radar Ellis. Go to Radar Ellis on Instagram if you want to know what he's up to. He posts all of his flyers there, and he sometimes does streaming on Twitch, which are always fun.
Always fun.
He kind of randomly does them. So you just have to watch his IG to figure out when he's going to do it. He just kind of randomly is like, you know what? I think I'm going to stream in 2 days. And then he just does a set. And it's really great. And
Hey,
he's really
Jake.
great. Hey, Jake.
Welcome, welcome.
Oops. Yeah. So I'll put his information in the comments right now. Nikki, you can say anything you need to say while I do this.
Let's see, what else do I need to say? I'm sad that I missed Comic-Con this year, but I'm glad that I did. Because I mean, I had COVID, so I wasn't able to go, but to me it's still a lot. I've never been to Comic-Con ever before, so next year it's in the plans. And like I said, I'm reading a lot of things, a couple other things that I are not like in the fantasy realm, so I'm not going to talk about, but I am really excited about trivia coming back. I am excited about episode 9 of House of the Dragon.
And you know that the penultimate episode is always like,
Always something. Um,
yeah.
if you listen this week, I'm going to be a guest on NPR's Pop Culture Happy Hour talking about House of the Dragon, which I'm super, super excited about. It'll be my first
Oh,
time.
I am so excited about it
Oh,
too. I can't wait for you to do it. I was like, Nikki, can I come too?
I trust me, I'm trying to figure out how to make it happen.
Oh,
Um, yeah,
so exciting.
so yeah, I don't know, like books are fun. Books are fun. We like them.
Can
I'll
you
send you more information because I don't know.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know,
I know
we'll
we're recording tomorrow.
maybe we can make a flyer for it and post it when you know like the information just to
Mm-hmm.
post on our website, which is thousandeyespodcast.com.
Yeah.
Um and
And
if I have this edited up, I'll put it in the show notes.
I've only
Um
been to one con, Jake. And it was at the Aqueduct racetrack here, and it was super fun. That's where I met the guy who made the little clay sculpture of me on the Iron Throne. It was super cute. Um,
I've done New York Comic Con twice, and I get to go as a professional because I'm an entertainment lawyer. I do
mhm.
IP. Shh, don't tell anybody, it's a secret. Um
YouTube, keep it a
yeah.
secret.
So I've gone, so yeah, I've only done New York Comic Con. I get to go as a professional. I usually do all 4 days. I have not gone in the last couple of years,
Mhm.
but I'm hoping to go next year. I already have my costume in mind, which I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want anyone to steal my idea.
No,
But
no,
I have
no.
an idea. It was going to be my Halloween costume, but I don't have enough time.
Yeah, no, I think save it for next year and put it together properly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I would love also if we ended up getting to do a panel. That would be really fun.
That would be. We should look into that. And
Yeah,
if anyone knows how one ends up getting a panel, like let us know because we would like it a lot.
yeah. We're at time though.
Yeah. I
Um,
just want to shout out some other cons that I like. I want to, that I would like to go to. Dragonsteel Con,
yeah,
right? A con of Ice and Fire. Um, yeah, those two, and then the Comic Cons. Maybe I'll go to like San Francisco Comic Con next year and New York.
speaking of
A Con
costumes,
of
Tanya,
Thrones.
wait, what did I say I was gonna wear? I come up with a lot of costume. Don't post it in there.
Don't
DM
post it
me.
here. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say.
DM me, DM me, DM me. It's all a secret.
Yeah. Um. Hmm.
I guess
I guess
that's
that's
it,
it.
right? Yeah.
I guess we're
I mean, we're
done.
at time. We don't want to keep this too long.
Well, we were
Um,
4 minutes late, so
we were
now
4 minutes
you
late.
get 5 bonus minutes.
Yeah. So we are Wine on an Empty Stomach, a subgroup of A Thousand Eyes and One podcast. There's also A Thousand Eyes and One trivia. So, you know, keep your schedules open and check out thousandeyespodcast.com, and we will post everything that's coming up. Um, we post flyers, and you can also listen to our past episodes about Game of Thrones, Wheel of Time, House of the Dragon, and all of the Wine on an Empty Stomach episodes.
Oh,
So check it out. And it's been fun. Thank you for dropping in. I've been Tanya,
I'm always Nikki.
and we'll see you later. Bye bye.
Bye.